I've heard some people say that a true spiritual awakening means you reach enlightenment and you never come down. Like you reach that place and then everything is perfect always. And I just feel that's not how it works. Like I've looked at near-death experiences as well, and people that die, they go to the other side and they experience the oneness of everything. And then a lot of them come back into separation and experience almost like a sort of depression because you've felt the all that is, and then you come back into this place where there's chaos and destruction and struggle and pain, and it's hard. And I really feel my Kundalini awakening was similar. I felt the allness of everything, the connection of everything, and it was so profound. Words absolutely failed to describe it. And then I had to come back and I was like, what do you mean I have bills to pay? What do you mean I have to still run a business after experiencing that? Like, I still have to make content. Like, what the fuck? So I think having these spiritual experiences doesn't mean that you don't have the human experience anymore, that there is light and dark. What is reality really made of? I'm your host Carla, and welcome to Cosmic Batter, the podcast where we explore what it means to be human, with our ability to heal and transform, the power of love, and our connection to the divine. This is for anyone who realizes that there is so much more to our existence. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to the Cosmic Batter podcast. So today I am talking about after my Kundalini awakening. And specifically, I have 9 ways that my life has changed since my Kundalini awakening. Now, I wanted to make this podcast because the last episode on my Kundalini awakening has done extremely well. I have nearly 600 listens across all platforms, which is huge for me. And I'm so grateful to everybody that listened and to everybody that resonated as well. I actually received a lot of messages from that episode, people saying that they had had the same experience. It was different for them, but that they had had this Kundalini awakening, that me talking about it made them feel normal and helped them to understand what had happened. So I'm really grateful for those messages because I felt really vulnerable sharing that episode myself. So that episode did really well. And I wanted to then, share how my life has changed after, because it's changed pretty drastically. And of course, this is my podcast and I often give personal updates, and I really know that my path and the way that I teach is through sharing my lived experience. And I think that I am good at bringing to light the internal experience and all the shifts that we go through sort of energetically. I just know this is my purpose to share these things. So I'm also trying to be a lot more intentional with my work, which is one of my points here today, which is why I have got 9 points for you, 9 ways that my life has changed since this Kundalini experience. Because otherwise I could talk absolutely all day. And I also want to add that, just a reminder that a Kundalini awakening, it will happen if it's meant to happen. It's still just one of many spiritual experiences I feel. I have had various spiritual awakenings before, and I definitely feel that more are yet to come. So it's not a race, it's not a comparison, there's no hierarchy, there's no end. It's just a part of the human experience. Okay, so first of all, heightened physical communication. My body talks to me so fast now. And I was already aware of that before. I already knew that our body communicates to us. But now when my body speaks, it's much louder and really unavoidable. So I even mentioned when I last spoke about my Kundalini awakening, I spoke about how I felt a lot of energy in my body. My nervous system felt very stretched, and I actually felt my blood pressure was really high, which was unusual for me, and it was scary at the time. I didn't know what was going on. Now, if my body has if I get a headache or if my heart rate, increases, I know that I need to shift or move something. So I have a tendency to overwork, or at least I did in the past, but I have a tendency to overwork. And if I start overworking and it's not actually for a purpose, my heart rate will go up, I'll get a headache, something like that, which is just my body saying it's time to move. And again, at the start, this was a bit intimidating because I thought, what is going on with my body? Is there something wrong with me? Is there something wrong with my health? But those symptoms have, kind of gone away the more I listen to myself and the more intentional I am. And it really helped me to connect with other people that had a similar experience, because they had the same thing with their bodies, like their physical body, talking to them very quickly. And there was never anything wrong with them. They weren't sick. It was just about listening to that like divine guidance, our intuition, and that divine guidance is within us. And our physical body is just one way that we receive that communication. So my physical body communicates if I'm doing something for the right reasons or sort of for the wrong reasons. So the right reasons is when I do something for love, for expression, for creativity, for fun, for joy, for play. Sort of the wrong reasons, although like you can't go wrong, but the wrong reasons is anything that's motivated by fear. So if I was overworking, my body will tell me, because it's like, this isn't actually purposeful or intentional, let it go. Either it will get done later or it's actually not important. So my body just communicates so quickly, and I have realized like how much I was doing before that was motivated by fear. If I was rushing, trying to get things together faster, trying to do more for the sake of doing more, and I just can't do that now. Like you'll notice, I think my last episode was a month ago, and previously that would have sort of concerned me. But now I'm like, I will record this episode when it's time to record this episode, which is today. And in that space, there's no rush. I can just feel, peace and love and do other things that feel aligned. So yeah, my physical body is speaking to me really clearly. One more thing on my body. I have needed this space now, space from work, space from creating. And I know why, because Kundalini, the spiritual experience, whatever, it has brought up fear and, trauma and stuff from my body and released it. And I have needed so much rest. I cannot push through like I did, a year ago or 2 years ago. And there have been times where I've had to take, 5 days off pretty much completely to allow this fear to be released from my body. And there have been sometimes like physical symptoms with that, if it's like headache or like I had the flu one time, and it feels different. Like in the past, if I got sick, I'd be like, oh, I'm just sick. But these times where I'm having these sensations in my body, they feel like sensations. It feels like something that's being released, which has been pretty profound. Like I have sat with more of the fears that were within me and faced them and then let them go. And I wanted to talk about this point as well because I've watched a lot of videos about other people and their Kundalini awakening, like after my experience. And some people have had a really hard time with their body responding, having kriyas, what would you call it? Like where the body can go a bit catatonic or spasming or, intense physical pain. And I understand some of my experiences have been really intense, but there's no fear. I just want to say that this is one of my points as well. Like, there's nothing to be afraid of. And one of the sort of issues that I had with some of these other people talking about their experience is that some of them, not all, some of them were like, oh, my experience was so bad, I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. And I get it. Like, when I had my Kundalini Awakening, it was pretty fucking intense. And there were moments of intense darkness. But there's nothing to be afraid of. And it doesn't help to project fear. I think we can be fully honest about our experience, but it doesn't help to make people scared of the divine. There is nothing to fear. So if you have those physical symptoms, like, they'll pass. They will pass. And it's being released from your body, which is an absolute blessing. So there's nothing to fear. Okay, so really point one, strong physical communication. Point two, intention, the power of intention. I've already touched on this. I can only do things that feel right and purposeful. And this is something I've spoken about for a year, maybe 2 years. Like, I do not make content for the sake of content. I do not make podcasts just to get clients. Like, I was already doing that, but it's gone so much further for me. Like I mentioned before, I've had a lot of space in my work. I've only been doing, a couple of readings every week. I have a couple of clients each week, and I still create things like my podcast. I recently did a workshop. I'm still working. But in the past, I would freak out if I was working in this way. Like, I'm pretty much working part-time hours. I don't know. I honestly don't know. But in the past, I would have thought, I need to hurry up and get more people. I will create something. I'll put a program together. I'll get people on payment plans. Like, I'll just make it happen. But now the intention has to be there. And for so long, I even spoke about wanting to make a psychic development program or an intuitive development program. And after my Kundalini experience, I was so humbled. I had so much to integrate. And I just knew, not now. I'm not ready to teach on this. Not now. I need to make sense of it first. It needs to be safe within my being. I need to be safe with my own, spiritual abilities and feeling safe in myself if I'm going to hold other people. Not now. I don't care if I don't have much money. Not now. And yeah, in the past, I would be freaking out and I would have rushed to produce something. But now I just know when the intention is there and it's the right time, it will happen. And I also know that I will be supported no matter what. So I can wait. I can give my ideas the space that they need to grow. I can give myself the time that I need to integrate. And that intention that I now have is felt. Like, I'm sure the intention behind this podcast is being felt, where for example, some of my earlier Cosmic Batter podcasts, I just wanted to capture the magic of conversation. And so those conversations were very flowy, very watery. And now I'm like, okay, it's actually more powerful if there's a clear purpose, a clear intention. Beautiful. Okay. Number 3, ways that my life has changed since Kundalini. The power of thought. The power of thought. Holy shit. This was a really big one for me because it made me realize how much of my thinking was disempowering. And I was shocked that some of the things that I was doing that I thought were empowering me and helping me were actually just giving my power away and, leaving me in a state of lack and then a state of survival. And it's really funny because a lot of the, abundance mindset that I learned, the money mindset and the manifestation practices that I learned, I realized a lot of them are kind of redundant. It all still matters, and I really believe that I had to go through those steps to get to where I am now. But let me explain. So the power of thought, even subtle fears created a fear-like feeling for me. So after Kundalini, like I said, the energy was so intense. I was so sensitive to everything, to anything that I was feeling. And I did tools, like practices that I had before to make me feel safe. For example, I would light some incense or say a protection prayer. And I think I've spoken about this before, but anyway, I'd say a protection prayer. And that protection prayer would do fuck all. And I would be like, oh, I'm feeling the intensity of the energy. I don't really know what's going on with my body. Like, I'm still integrating this experience. Am I vulnerable? And I realized that even asking for protection, that underneath that, I felt vulnerable. That by asking for protection, that underneath that, I felt unsafe. So when I was asking for protection, it's like I was giving my power away and wasn't just feeling safe and sure of myself. So then in those moments, because the energy was so heightened, I would experience a lot of fear. And I would feel vulnerable to things like entities and dark energies. And like, because I had been in this psychic program, like I felt like, bad things could get me. Possibly. And I just realized, I am giving my power to those things. When I think that they exist and I give my power, and then I try and protect myself from them, I'm giving it power to exist. And I realized, what if I just don't think that they can affect me at all? And then it was like, they cease to exist. I just thought that was so funny. Yeah, so I realized a lot of practices were redundant and actually created separation between me and the divine, because the divine is always with us. We are an expression of the divine. Like, there is no separation. But if I thought I have to say this prayer before I meditate to access the divine, that's actually separation. If I thought I have to do this ritual to manifest abundance, that's separation. If I thought I have to visualize what I want and ask for it specifically to manifest my desire, that's separation. You don't need any of those things. The divine is with you always. And when you know that, I know that I'm safe. I know that I'm supported, and I feel that as well. It's deeper than just a knowing. But I just feel that and I know that. So I don't need any tools. I don't have to say anything. I am safe, period. Now, entities and things like sort of darker energies, they're still real. I still believe that they exist, but they literally can't affect me. I don't have to visualize a golden bubble of protection around me. I don't have to say a prayer. I don't have to ask them to leave the space. They cannot affect me. And because I believe that and I know that they cannot affect me because I am divine, therefore they don't. It's that simple, and that's how powerful our thoughts are. Now, I still set intentions. I set an intention before I did this podcast. I released any doubt, I released any fear, and I called on God to speak through me so that I can be, a vessel of light and bring this message to whoever needs to hear it. So I still think intention's really powerful. I still light incense. I still sage and cleanse the space. I really enjoy doing those things, but I know that I don't have to. And that's the difference. And yeah, after Kundalini, if I felt fear and then tried to do something to save me from that fear, something external, that would only exacerbate the fear. And I just learned very quickly the power of what we actually think. Point number 4, the way my life has changed since Kundalini: false teachers. My discernment is like through the roof. Like I said, my body's communicating to me. The divine feels really loud within me, loud and clear. I trust myself, my intuition, and I've become aware of false teachers. From my perspective at this point, it's essentially anyone that teaches from a place of fear, anyone that takes you away from your own inner knowing, anyone that creates separation between you and the divine. And this, goes off what I've already been saying, like the power of thought, which is my point before. If a teacher, because love is all there is, right? God is love. The divine is love. And yes, we live in separation where polarity exists. We have love and fear, but we get to choose love all the time. And it's up to us, to create that experience for ourselves, because we are creator beings. We are co-creating with the divine. So we get to embody love. So as soon as you plant the seed of fear into someone's experience, it's going to manifest that, right? Going off my point before, the power of thought. So, for example, I was in a psychic development program before, and I thought I needed to learn stuff about the spirit realm, and I had to learn how to protect myself and how to navigate the space and all this stuff. And then I realized after Kundalini, all these rituals or protection prayers or whatever, I am creating the experience of being vulnerable. I am creating the experience of not being able to trust myself, that I am creating space in my reality for negative energies. Why would I create that? When love is all there is, why would I waste my time worrying about negative energies? It's funny now that I've looked this in the eye. So and I realized nobody can teach me about the spirit realm, and I can't teach you about the spirit realm. It all comes from within. We are spiritual, period. There's nowhere to go. There's nothing to learn. You're having a spiritual experience right now. So I also joined this Facebook group for people that had Kundalini awakenings. I wanted to hear about other people's experiences. And the teacher would often say, be careful of demons and dark forces, and be careful that, demons don't communicate to you in your dreams. And I thought, wow, that's really interesting. I'll be aware of that. And as soon as I started to be aware of that, I started to question everything. And then all this fear had space to come into my reality, and my body would talk to me, and my nervous system would be stressed. And then I was like, what? Now I'm doubting the divine. I'm questioning and doubting the divine. And again, love is all there is. I am always safe. I am always supported. And again, these are things that I knew in my Kundalini awakening. I'm always safe. I'm always supported. Love is all there is. The divine is always here for me. Why would a demon come? Why would a demon come and try and get to me in my dream? No. And as soon as I then stopped believing in that, then it went away. So I felt that was a false teaching. To say be careful of these negative energies, that actually creates space for those negative energies. It's our choice to believe or engage in that or not. Equally, I went to a Christian church out of curiosity. I come from a Christian background, but I think my parents are atheist, or they're spiritual, but they don't go to church or anything. Anyway, my nana's very Christian. So I went to a Christian church out of curiosity because I just wanted more worship. I wanted to be with the divine. I wanted to be with God. I wanted to be around people that want to be with God. I thought it would be fun. And I did have fun. Like, there was singing and like it was lovely. But I was really shocked. I had forgotten this, that Christians believe that we are inherently sinful. That we are sinful and we have to always ask for forgiveness and constantly try to be on the highest path to, receive God's love. Now, if you are Christian, that's great. That's beautiful. I welcome that. Like, I speak to God, like I talk to God. So I understand that. But anyway, the power of thought. What do you think would happen if you believed that you were inherently sinful, that there was something wrong with you? And that just felt so wrong in my body. With God, like, and my experience, this is my personal experience, love is all there is. There is nothing to be afraid of. We are always supported by the divine. The divine is always with us. And in Christianity, they were talking about the devil, and they spoke of false teachings here as well, false teachers. But that very belief or that thought that we are born sinful, that is a false teaching to me. And like, if you don't agree, that's fine. This is my experience. It's the same as what I said earlier in the psychic realm. When I was like, I have to be careful of negative energies, then I was having that experience and experienced fear. And then I was like, I don't want to believe that anymore. And then it stopped. And I realized, oh, there's nothing to be afraid of. All is love. God is with me. There's nothing to be afraid of. I'm not vulnerable to entities and demons and shit. The same thing with Christianity, in my experience. To plant that seed that there's something inherently wrong, that's going to manifest a fear-based experience. Even if you're trying to live in God's light, if you want to share love and generosity, all of those are really beautiful qualities. But if you have that fear that there's something wrong with you, that you could take the wrong path, you've already let fear in. And this is where Kundalini has just taught me so much. So with Christianity, I also found it sort of contradictory that they would talk about God and communicating with God and being in love and being of service and, being on the highest path. But then also this fear and rejection of the devil, and then there's judgment there, and you don't want to do anything wrong or bad, and that the devil is always trying to influence you. And I understand that, and I understand how that could also be helpful for a lot of people. But this, again, fear that the devil is trying to influence you, that's fear. Fear is not God. God is love. And so by having these beliefs that you could do something wrong or be influenced or possessed by the devil, again, that actually creates space for that fear-based experience. And what I found talking to some Christians, not all of them, of course, but just a few of them, they were really afraid actually of spiritual experiences. Like I told one person about my Kundalini Awakening, which I believe in Christian terms is actually the Holy Spirit. Like the Holy Spirit moved through me, Kundalini Awakening. And this particular person suggested that that might have been demonic possession and something bad. And that's okay. Everybody's allowed to interpret it how they want. But I was like, no, it definitely wasn't that. Like, it was God. It was divine. And I know what I experienced, although it was very confronting and it altered my perception of, reality. It changed my life, but it was God and it was love. It was pure love. And so then I just feel, yeah, again, like to be aware of false teachings and what doesn't, resonate, false teachers, any teaching that includes fear in it, that tries to motivate out of fear or any of that, I just believe that just brings fear in. You do not need to be motivated by fear in any way. And I feel like that's, a false teaching, but like, it's like the teaching is not pure. Love is all there is. And again, if you're focused on love, that doesn't mean that you're completely reckless. Like, intuitively, if something feels right and good to you, you do that. If it doesn't feel right, then you don't do that. You actually don't need fear or consequences to motivate you. You can feel and believe that love is all there is and trust and have faith. And that doesn't mean that you'll be reckless or ignorant or, not cautious. Like, we still operate in separation and duality, so we need to be aware. But yeah, anyway, fear is a false teaching, all the way from teachers, psychics, religion, even like I looked into Buddhism, and I believe in reincarnation. Like, I've had many past lives that I remember. But I recently was watching a video about, I think samsara is the word, and the different places you can end up in with your karma. And that you want to escape the wheel of reincarnation. And again, I think there's a lot of benefit in having this belief. I do believe that we reincarnate, but even then there's this tiny speck of fear in this Buddhist teaching that we have to escape the wheel of karma, or we have to escape reincarnation. Because then that brings into question, am I doing enough? Am I progressing fast enough? Am I enlightened enough? Am I stuck here forever? Am I trapped? And these are literally like fears that I had to face in this Kundalini experience. I had to look at, what do I actually believe? What am I giving my energy to? And again, God is love. The divine is love. Love is all there is. There's nothing to escape. There's nowhere to go. There's nothing to achieve. And I think that is enlightenment in itself. Like, when we believe that and we're in pure love, then you're with God. Then you escape the wheel of reincarnation, or you become enlightened or whatever. You don't need any fear to motivate you at all. It's like just pure acceptance for where you are right now. Yeah, and additionally, so false teachers, the power of thought, tarot, this is just a funny one. Tarot is not a window for demons to come through, and neither are crystals. At least in my opinion. Again, this even ties into what I said before. If you give your power to those things, that is going to disempower you and put you into a fear experience. That's legit. Like, if you think crystals can cure you or tarot can save you, that is disempowering. Because you have all the answers within, like the divine is within you. But then at the same time, God is everything. So I own crystals and I think they're beautiful, and I think they do have certain properties, and I can access that and celebrate that. I obviously read tarot. When I do my intuitive readings, I just channel and I speak myself, but then I follow it up with tarot and we go a little bit deeper. Tarot, I just find another expression of God. It's another way that God moves through me. They're just images. Like, again, if you project fear onto those items that demons can come through them, then you open that experience. So I hope this is all making sense. And with my point about false teachers, the ultimate realization from that is that you have the answers. You know yourself better than anyone. You know what is right for you. Nobody else can tell you what is right for you. Obviously, this same goes for me. This has been my lesson. Which brings me to point number 5 of how my life has changed after Kundalini, being self-led. After this Kundalini Awakening, I have had to trust myself like never before because nobody else can tell me what I experienced. Nobody else knows what I experienced. Even if I talk about it and share it, nobody actually knows what I went through and how beautiful it was. And that's okay. Like, it's okay that it's just for me. Even if I share it, even though I feel my path is to share my personal experiences and my lessons and all these things, still nobody knows what I experienced. And I've just heard again, I just had to protect like my inner knowing from the distractions of other people. If, I've heard some people say that a true spiritual awakening means you reach enlightenment and you never come down. Like, you reach that place and then everything is perfect always. And I just feel that's not how it works. Like, I've looked at near-death experiences as well, and people that die, they go to the other side and they experience the oneness of everything. And then a lot of them come back into separation and experience almost like a sort of depression because you've felt the all that is, and then you come back into this place where there's chaos and destruction and struggle and pain, and it's hard. And I really feel my Kundalini awakening was similar. I felt the allness of everything, the connection of everything, and it was so profound. Words absolutely failed to describe it. And then I had to come back and I was like, what do you mean I have bills to pay? What do you mean I have to still run a business after experiencing that? Like, I still have to make content. Like, what the fuck? So I think having these spiritual experiences doesn't mean that you don't have the human experience anymore, that there is light and dark. And even with Kundalini being so beautiful, I've been fully transparent that I've had to face darkness and face fears and let that energy out of my body. So I've had to trust myself to hold myself in that and to support myself in that. So in the past, I would have found a mentor to help guide me through the process because, previously I've had mentors consistently for like 4 or 5 years, from business mentors to spiritual mentors. Like, I've had personal trainers, like everything in between, But now with all the research that I've done, I just continuously come back to myself. Like I said, I went to church. I went to a Christian church. I researched Buddhism. I researched Hinduism. I spoke to other healers. I spoke to a shamanic woman, to a medicine woman, a master of like Qigong. Like, I spoke to all these different people and practices, and I just kept coming back to, I know what is right for me. The divine is with me. The divine is guiding me. And it's time for me to trust that, to fully hold myself. Now, I still have people that help me and like support me, but I'm not seeking mentorship like I did in the past. And I just think that self-trust is huge. And, I even mentioned earlier how I have more space in my week and I feel safe in that. I know the divine is guiding me. I don't need a business mentor to help me figure out how to get things moving. Like, I don't need any of that. I am on the path. I am on my highest timeline. It is here now, and God will tell me where to go. So point number 6 ties into that with, I now know that this reality, it's sort of just another dream, but I am fully grounded in this reality, in this experience. And I think what I've realized is, before with my spiritual practice, I was trying to, achieve something or go somewhere or reach a certain vibration. And now I have that complete surrender and acceptance that everything is here now and everything is perfect as it is. So if I feel fear, that is perfect and beautiful and sacred. And if I feel love, that is perfect and beautiful and sacred. And in the human experience, it's going to fluctuate, and that's okay. And I feel like I've become more immersed in what it means to actually be here, more present than I ever was before. And I think it's made me realize as well, I've mentioned before how I'm no longer like actively pursuing like psychic gifts. I have spiritual abilities like we all do. But when I was more pursuing psychic knowledge, it's like I was actually chasing something outside of me and, trying to operate only in like the higher chakras, you could say. But with Kundalini, I could feel that imbalance. And if there was too much energy or a lot of energy in the higher chakras, it doesn't feel right. Like you don't feel fully present. And we're here for a reason. We're here for a reason. We're having the human experience for a reason. So I feel, more present in this physical experience and devoted to my life here. Even though I also have this knowing that this is just another sort of dream, that this isn't ultimate reality, but it's also real. Like I feel more grounded in that. Okay, and the last couple of points really tie together. So point number 7, my perception of abundance. So previously, because I had a business and I needed to survive, I needed to live, I needed to make money, I invested a lot into learning how to grow my business and things like money mindset, which I've spoken about, in my old podcast. Money mindset and abundant thinking. And for example, money mindset made me change my perception of money, that like my work was worth a lot more. And so I could charge based on the value and the impact of my work. And that was very valuable, and it worked, and it allowed me to charge more for my teachings. There's nothing wrong with that either. But in my Kundalini Awakening, I just had that deep, deep knowing that I am abundant and I am supported. And I actually came out of that experience like, oh, if I am abundant always, I can actually charge a lot less and be affordable, be more available, and I'm abundant no matter what. Like I don't need to be making more money, or I don't need to be making a lot of money to make me feel abundant. And I realized again that little seed of lack behind that way of thinking. Like if previously I'm saying I'm abundant so I can make lots and lots of money because I'm abundant, you've then associated like needing money with being abundant. Like that's actually motivated by lack, and it's not that just inner knowing that I am always abundant. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. And that was an important part of my journey. But now I feel I don't need to work with just high performers that can invest a lot. I actually want to work with the people that need me, whoever that is. I want to be affordable. I want to be approachable. I want to be human and have an open heart. And so, I've gone from offering long-term private coaching where we would go really deep and it would be a few thousand, to now just offering once-off sessions for $111. And people can come as they need. They can take what they need. I trust that if someone comes to me, they will book as many sessions as they need. Like I don't need to make them like recurring clients or anything like that. And even if I'm making less, it doesn't matter because I'm abundant and I will always be supported. So I find it almost comical the way that like my perception of abundance has actually totally done a flip. And it's been so good for me because the stuff that I'm producing now and the work that I put out feels so fucking good. Like there's no pressure behind my work anymore. No pressure for people to work with me. No pressure for me to make stuff just to get money. Like that abundant way of creating and living, it feels, deeper in my bones. And I'm still working, like I'm still creating and therefore making money. I still have money coming through, but I just feel in surrender, and whatever I make is whatever I make. Like it just doesn't really matter anymore. Which ties into my next point, which ties into so many things. So manifestation. Manifestation. So I've just realized that so much of mainstream manifestation is flawed. And this is what I was experiencing before. Like I would set my goals, have my vision, things I wanted to achieve. I would figure out roughly how to do that, or I would visualize it happening, or I would say a lot of affirmations to feel that way. And I would do healing work and stuff as well, like doing this stuff to manifest my desires, like to embody that way of being, all this stuff. And I just realized all of this focus on what I want makes me realize that I don't have it in the present moment. Like you can visualize and affirm till the cows come home, but if you don't have like $1 million, then you're not like, then if you're visualizing it all the time, you're actually just focusing on not having it because you don't actually have it. And it's also this fixation on having things, a fixation on the timeline, on the end result. It's not being present in the present moment. So that's another way with that with an obsession with manifestation. Like it still has merit. But that's another way that we can give our power away, by being so fixated on something that is not here. Yeah. And additionally, with manifestation, like, because I would say, I mean, we're all always manifesting, so I'm not totally knocking the process entirely, but I've been consciously manifesting like for a few years, and things would never fucking go to plan. Like, good things would happen, but never exactly what I was asking for. And the divine will decide what actually happens. And when I just realized like manifestation was just giving me the ick, because everyone, like the space that I was in before, people were constantly asking spirit for things. Like being like, God, I want more money. How can I get more money? I want to make 10K a month. God, I want more followers. What do I need to do to get that? Like, God, I want to have this. Like, I want to have that experience. I want to be known as this really famous speaker. Like, I want to be these things. Like, spirit will fucking decide what you get. And like, why are we just trying to take constantly from spirit? Like, we're having this magical experience here where the divine is guiding us, and the divine does want to support us, and it does want us to be abundant. Like, God wants us to be abundant. Why are you always trying to take? And if you're always trying to take and get stuff, that again just shows how in lack you feel. It just shows that you do not feel worthy, that you feel that what you have is not enough by constantly asking for more. So how I've shifted in my approach to manifestation, this is point 8 if I didn't say that, is just to stop asking, to stop seeking outside of myself. Everything I need and want is here now. And I feel excited being completely open to wherever the divine guides me. Again, back to intention and purpose. God will tell me where to go. God will tell me what is right and what is wrong. Or God will tell me what is for me and what is not for me. And that just is how I feel in the present moment. You know, and that creates space for the path to shift. If things change, that's fine. Opportunities have been popping up for me. I recently did a workshop with Tinika, which was incredible. I actually have entered a DJ competition, which is incredible because I used to do music, and I would love to do ecstatic dance. I've hosted ecstatic dance like twice before, but it's not something I pursued. And now, because I have space and energy, I've entered this DJ competition. I could not have planned that. I really feel, because I've been in surrender and I've been listening to God, been listening to the divine, that opportunity has appeared. So manifestation is just about, like, if you truly want to be abundant and be at the vibration of abundance to attract more abundance, then I think you stop asking for things. Because it's all here. Like, I'm abundant. I have everything I need. Now, I still have desires and wants and things I would like to achieve, and I still work, and I still have things that I work towards. But again, it's all from that place of knowing that I have everything I need now and what feels good to me now. Like, it's that simple. I'm not writing out heaps of my visions. I'm not planning them. Like, I'm not planning how it will happen. I am not setting income targets. I'm not tracking my sales. Like, there's so much that I've just let go of, and I'll just see what happens. My last point of how my life has changed since Kundalini is creativity. The creativity that is flowing through me is crazy. I find if I'm working a lot, my body will start to tell me to stop and to do something else, like to draw, to lay in the sunshine, to paint. I already said I entered that DJ competition, which I am very excited for. I actually have started writing a book. I got a lot of signs that it's time for me to write a book. I don't know exactly what it will be yet, if it will be like my autobiography, like about my life, if it will be focused on my awakening experience, we'll see. But I have started. I've had a lot of ideas as well around what I want to create outside of what I was doing in the past. And I see how before, when I was trying to plan things or like plan my manifestations or how I would make money, that I was really limiting myself. Like 6 months ago, I was very focused on building my online business, or a year ago, I was really focused on like building an online business. And now that I've let that go and I'm just letting creativity and ideas flow through me, like I've hosted a free meditation in the park for my local community. I'm doing more women's circles. I applied to do intuitive readings at a festival, and I want to do more of that. I have been writing poems. Like, there is just so much space now for magic to come in. I feel Kundalini, or the divine, like whatever you want to call it, it just guides me back to my soul and what does my soul want. You know, this reminder that there's nowhere to go, there's nothing to build, like everything that's meant to happen will happen, and I can just surrender into life, to be present, to have fun, to feel love, to feel joy, and that is all that actually matters. I could go on and on and on, but those are the 9 ways that my life has changed since my Kundalini Awakening. Those are the biggest changes that I've experienced. I feel like my ego has dissolved so many times to get here. Like, I've been humbled so many times as well, to even change, you know, my business from, like I said, thousands of dollars for a couple of months of private mentoring to now be comfortable with just offering once-off sessions. I've let go of so much. I've detached from so much. I've said goodbye to so much of my old identity, to things that don't resonate anymore. It's really beautiful. You know, I feel more of me is coming through, more of my truth, more of my authentic path, and the self-trust that I have to walk this path, the knowing that I have that I'm on the right path, is really profound and a real blessing. So I hope that this was helpful. Like, please drop a comment again if you've had a similar experience, if you've had similar realizations, anything about your journey, I would love to know. You can always send me a message on Instagram. And if you want to work with me, of course, you can book an intuitive reading. in my intuitive readings, I tap into your energy and see what is coming up for you, what is happening in your life right now, in what ways are you being asked to grow. So a lot of guidance from the divine will come through on how to shift things. Intuitive readings really give you a lot of power to see from a higher perspective what is happening in your life and how to best embrace, challenges or opportunities that are coming up for you and the path that you're on. I also have Divine Co-Creation. This is a 4-week group program that I've put together, and there will be teachings and a lot of community-based support. So after all of my experiences, the way that my perception has shifted around manifestation and spirituality, I wanted to create something that was focused on exploring your own inner knowing, developing your own intuition, your own spiritual abilities, having that safety that you feel from within so that there is no fear, so that you're always abundant, you can always trust your intuition, and to allow the divine to flow through you. So Divine Co-Creation, it's all in the name. It's about developing a relationship with the divine so that you can communicate with God, so that you are on your highest path. So Divine Co-Creation is about bringing more magic and abundance and fun and joy into your life and being able to explore your mystical experiences as well. So I'll put the link down below if you want to learn more about Divine Co-Creation. We start May 13th. And there'll be 4 group classes and also a group chat. So there'll be a community, there'll be a lot of support in this program. So there's more information down below. And I have a lot more coming. Some of the things I've already mentioned here. I'm also going to be offering in-person healing sessions very soon. So I'm really excited about that. I'm really excited about the way that everything has changed. Now that these lessons are more integrated, I'm sure they'll continue to integrate. It all feels like such a huge blessing. I'm so grateful for everything that I've learned. I'm grateful for how I've been humbled. I'm grateful that I can be more of service, more affordable, approachable, more available just to people. Thanks again for listening. Please drop a comment if this episode resonated with you or message me on Instagram. I would love to hear about your experience. I would love to hear if you relate to any of this or if you have anything that you have learned that you want to share. And we will talk again soon. Much love. Mwah. Bye.